The guests were clapping, music playing, and golden confetti fluttered through the air. On a glowing stage inside a grand hotel ballroom, Malcolm knelt before his beautiful girlfriend, Veronica Clark, multimillionaire businesswoman and single mom. He opened the tiny velvet box and said, "Veronica, will you marry me?" Everyone gasped in excitement. But just as Veronica reached for the ring, just as her fingers brushed the diamond, there was a scream. A little girl, maybe 8, collapsed onto the floor nearby, red rashes erupting across her arms, neck, and face. Her eyes were swelling shut. "Call 911, someone shouted. The crowd scattered, panic setting in. Veronica turned pale as she rushed to the child. Skylar. Oh my God. It was her daughter. And no one understood what was happening, except for one strange pattern that no one wanted to say out loud. Every time a man got close to her mom, Skylar had a reaction. A real, painful, terrifying allergic reaction. Fade to black. Build up, 2 months earlier. Veronica Clark wasn't just any single mom. She was one of the most successful fashion entrepreneurs in the U.S. Her clothing brand was everywhere, billboards in Times Square, magazine covers, TV interviews. She was smart, powerful, beautiful, and alone. She raised her daughter Skylar by herself, and made her a promise when her ex left them. "No one comes between us, baby. Ever." And for 8 years, she kept that promise. But recently, Skylar had been asking questions. "Mom, don't you want to be happy? Like, married happy?" Veronica would laugh it off. "I'm happy with you, kiddo." But the truth was, she was lonely. So when she met Malcolm at a charity event, tall, kind, with a soft voice and a love for books, she let her guard down. He wasn't flashy. He wasn't controlling. He didn't care about her money. He just liked her. And Skylar too, or so she thought. Low moment, the first reaction. The first time it happened, they all thought it was a fluke. Malcolm had brought flowers to their house, pink tulips and white roses. He handed them to Veronica with a sweet smile. Skylar came to the living room, saw the flowers, and sneezed. Then she coughed. Then she broke out in hives so bad they had to go to urgent care. The doctor asked if she had pollen allergies. "She never has," Veronica said, worried. They gave her antihistamines, and by morning she was fine. No one made the connection. Yet. Malcolm started visiting more often. He cooked dinner, helped Skylar with her homework, even fixed a squeaky cabinet in the kitchen. He made Veronica laugh again. Skylar seemed okay, mostly. But sometimes, she would scratch her arms when Malcolm sat close to her mom. Or say her stomach hurt when they planned a date night. Still, Veronica brushed it off. "She's adjusting," she told herself. "She's just not used to sharing me." One night, Malcolm tucked Skylar into bed and gave her a soft pat on the head. Within minutes, her cheeks turned red. She started coughing. Her breathing got tight. Again, it passed quickly. But Veronica couldn't ignore the feeling in her gut. Something was wrong. Veronica took Skylar to an allergy specialist. They ran tests for pollen, dust, mold, food, animal dander, everything. All negative. "She's perfectly healthy," the doctor said. "No trace of allergy to anything environmental." Veronica frowned. "Then what's causing the reactions?" The doctor hesitated. "Has anything changed at home?" Veronica thought hard. Then it hit her. Malcolm. But how? It didn't make sense. "She's not allergic to him, right?" she asked, almost laughing. But the doctor didn't laugh. "Stranger things have happened. The body can react to certain pheromones, colognes, even emotional triggers. Especially in children who have experienced trauma. That word hit Veronica like a stone, trauma. Skylar had been through a lot when her dad left. Could this be her body's way of protecting them? Or pushing every man away? Despite everything, Veronica wanted to believe things would be okay. Malcolm had been nothing but gentle. Supportive. Patient. So when he planned a surprise proposal at her company's gala, she said yes to the idea. I want Skylar there too, she told him. She needs to see us happy together. Malcolm agreed. The night came. Lights. Music. Cameras. And as he knelt with the ring, everything felt like a dream. Until Skylar collapsed. The rash. The swelling. The scream. Veronica held her in her arms, begging her to breathe. The ambulance took her away. Malcolm stood frozen, the ring still in his hand. Everyone else was silent. And in that silence, a single thought took root in Veronica's mind, one she had tried so hard to avoid. Is my daughter allergic to love? The next morning, Skylar was better. Resting at the hospital, covered in cool cream, hooked to a monitor. The nurse smiled softly. She's stable now. But there's something else. She handed Veronica a file. Inside was an allergy chart, and something new. Skylar had tested positive for something. Not pollen. Not food. Male skin proteins. Specifically, the one found in Malcolm's DNA sample from earlier hand swabs. It wasn't psychological. It wasn't a phase. It was real. Skylar was literally allergic to any man who got too close to her mother. And now, Veronica had a choice no mother should ever have to make. Veronica sat by Skylar's hospital bed, staring at her sleeping daughter. The air felt heavy, like it had been squeezed from the room. The nurse's words rang in her head over and over again. Skylar has a rare protein sensitivity that reacts specifically to male skin compounds. It's not common. It's barely documented. But it's real. Veronica felt sick. This wasn't a tantrum. This wasn't some emotional outburst from a kid who didn't want to share her mom. This was science. This was pain. This was serious. Malcolm stood quietly at the door, his face pale. Is she okay? She's resting, Veronica said quietly. But I need you to go. His shoulders dropped. You're shutting me out. I'm protecting her. Malcolm took a slow step forward. Veronica, you and I, this is real. I love you. I know, she whispered. That's what makes this so hard. She walked to the door and gently closed it behind her. Malcolm stood on the other side, stunned. Flashback, building up to this moment. A few months ago, life was simple. Veronica and Skylar had their routines, Sunday pancakes, Saturday cartoons, and late-night popcorn while watching old movies. They were happy. Or, they were fine. But Veronica had started to feel the cracks. Loneliness at night. Her friends getting married. Her own heart whispering, what if? So when Malcolm showed up, soft-spoken and sweet, it felt like fate. He was different from Skylar's dad, no lies, no games, just honest affection. He baked. He read bedtime stories. He even helped pick out a new puppy for Skylar. Veronica started to imagine the impossible, a complete family. But Skylar's body didn't agree. Every hug between her mom and Malcolm sparked hives. Every kiss turned into coughing. Every romantic dinner ended in emergency cream and cold compresses. Veronica thought it was coincidence. Then, denial. But now, she couldn't deny it anymore. High moment, the internet freakout. News of the gala disaster spread fast. Social media went wild. Millionaire's daughter, allergic to love. Little girl hospitalized after mom's proposal. Is this the first case of romance-induced allergy? TikTokers made videos. Doctors gave interviews. Even TV shows debated it. Strangers sent letters, some kind, some cruel. One woman wrote, "You should put your daughter in therapy, not push love away." Another said, "This girl is a walking red flag. Dump the man, save the child." Veronica stayed offline. But Skylar saw the headlines. Even at 8 years old, she understood what people were saying. "I'm broken," she whispered to her mom one night. Veronica's heart shattered. "No, baby," she said, hugging her tightly. "You're special." But Skylar didn't look convinced. Desperate for help, Veronica found a pediatric specialist who agreed to see Skylar, Dr. Jamie Rowe, a child therapist who also studied psychogenic responses in kids. Dr. Rowe listened carefully. Then she said something Veronica hadn't expected. "Skylar's condition may have started physical, but it's becoming emotional. It's evolving into a defense mechanism." "What does that mean?" Veronica asked. "It means her brain is linking any romantic attention toward you with danger. Pain. Rejection. Maybe even fear. But she's 8. She's also smart. And very protective." Dr. Rowe leaned forward. "You need to ask yourself something, Veronica. Who was there for her when her father left? Who held her at night? Who promised her that nothing would change?" Veronica closed her eyes. "I did." "Exactly," Dr. Rowe said. "To Skylar, you are home. And she'll fight anything that tries to break that home apart, even love." A few nights later, Veronica found a note on her kitchen table. It was in crayon. "Dear Malcolm. Sorry I hurt you. I want my mom to be happy. So I'm going to be brave. Please come to dinner. Love, Skylar." Veronica didn't know whether to cry or smile. She called Malcolm. He came over that evening, wearing the same cologne as always and holding Skylar's favorite chocolate chip cookies. They ate together. Skylar laughed. Veronica laughed. Everything felt okay. Until Skylar's hand started itching. Then her lips swelled. And this time, her throat closed. Veronica didn't wait. She grabbed Skylar, screaming for Malcolm to grab her EpiPen. They rushed to the ER. Skylar survived, but barely. This wasn't just a rash anymore. This was danger. Veronica sat outside the emergency room afterward, her hands shaking, mascara running down her cheeks. Malcolm came to her, tears in his eyes. "I'm so sorry. I can't do this," she whispered. "She could die." "I know. I love you," she choked out. "But I can't lose her." Malcolm stepped back. And nodded. Then he walked away. This time, for real. A week later, Skylar was home, back in her PJs, watching cartoons with her mom like nothing happened. But everything had changed. There was a knock on the door. Veronica opened it. No one there. Just a small box on the porch. No name. No address. She opened it carefully. Inside was a note. "There's a reason this is happening to Skylar. And it didn't start with Malcolm. Ask her about the man in the blue tie." Veronica froze. Skylar had never mentioned a man in a blue tie. Her heart started to pound. Because if this wasn't about Malcolm, then who was it about? Veronica sat at the kitchen table, the mysterious note still shaking in her hand. Ask her about the man in the blue tie. She looked over at Skylar, who was busy drawing cartoons at the counter with her sparkly markers, totally unaware of the secret about to break open. Veronica took a slow breath. How do you ask your child something, when you're terrified of the answer? She walked over gently, sat beside her, and tried to keep her voice calm. Hey sweet pea, can I ask you something kinda important? Skylar looked up, her big eyes blinking. Do you remember anyone wearing a blue tie? Skylar's hand stopped moving. Her smile faded, just a little. And then, without saying a word, she dropped her marker, got up, and walked away. Veronica's heart dropped. Skylar never ignored her. Something was wrong. Later that night, Veronica knocked softly on Skylar's bedroom door. It was cracked open. Skylar was curled up in bed, hugging her favorite stuffed bunny. Veronica sat beside her and gently brushed the hair from her forehead. You don't have to talk about it, baby. But if there's something you're scared of, I want to help. Skylar stayed quiet for a moment. Then whispered, I saw him. Veronica froze. Who? The man in the blue tie. When? Skylar's eyes welled up. Back when you were dating that man before Malcolm. Mr. Kent. He always smiled at you. But when you weren't looking, he looked mean. Veronica's stomach tightened. Kent. Mr. Perfect. She had dated him almost 2 years ago, charming, successful, always dressed up. He even helped Skylar with a school project once. But she broke up with him when he got too pushy about meeting Skylar more often. Now, she wished she had known more. Skylar went on, her voice small. One day, I was at the office with you. You were busy, and I was in the playroom. He came in. He told me not to scream. Veronica's blood ran cold. Skylar's voice shook. He touched my arm and said if I told anyone, you'd stop loving me. Tears spilled down Veronica's face. She had no idea. Skylar had never said a word. The next morning, Veronica was at her lawyer's office. She told them everything. Within hours, she was filing a report. And by evening, detectives were involved. Veronica gave them Kent's full name, photo, phone number, everything. I want him found, she told the detective. I don't care how long it takes. The officer nodded. We'll do everything we can. But we may need Skylar's statement. Veronica hesitated. Would that be too much? But before she could decide, Skylar spoke for herself. I'll do it, she said quietly, standing beside her mom. I don't want him to hurt anybody else. The news leaked fast. A popular blogger posted a headline. Fashion queen's daughter claims abuse from ex, truth or drama? Suddenly, cameras were outside their house again. Microphones. Harsh comments. Online trolls saying, this is why single moms shouldn't date, or that kid is making it up for attention. Veronica wanted to scream. But she had to stay calm, for Skylar. She cancelled interviews. Locked down her social media. Pulled Skylar out of school for a while. But the damage was done. She was being called a bad mom. And Skylar was called a liar. One afternoon, while hiding out in their beach house, a knock came at the door. Veronica opened it. Malcolm stood there, holding flowers and a small toy puppy for Skylar. I heard what happened, he said softly. And I'm so sorry. She stepped outside and shut the door behind her. Malcolm, I told you. I'm not here to push, he interrupted. I'm not here for me. He reached into his coat and pulled out a folder. I hired a private investigator the day I left, he said. Because I knew something didn't feel right. He handed her the folder. Inside were photos. Dates. A timeline of Kent's movements over the past year. Turns out, Kent had been hanging around Skylar's school. Showing up at parks. Watching them from afar. He's still out there, Malcolm said, his jaw tight. And he's not done. That night, the power at the beach house went out. Completely. Veronica checked the breakers. Nothing wrong. She looked outside. A shadow near the fence. Movement. She grabbed her phone. No signal. "Skylar," she screamed. Skylar ran out from her room, holding her bunny, terrified. And that's when the window shattered. A brick landed in the living room. Attached was a note. "You talk, I take her away forever." Veronica grabbed Skylar and ran to the panic room hidden behind the bookshelf, something she had installed when her business got targeted years ago. She locked the door, held her daughter tight, and whispered, "I will never let him hurt you again." The next day, Veronica made a decision. She went back to the city, held a press conference, and told the whole world what Kent had done. Every detail. Every threat. Every warning. Then she said one thing that sent the media spinning. "I'm not hiding anymore. If he wants to find us, let him try. Because this time, I'll be waiting." Behind the cameras, detectives watched. And in a van nearby, Skylar watched the live stream, wearing a tiny wire. Because this wasn't just a press conference. It was a setup. And Kent? He was already watching. The press conference was still trending online. Millionaire mom goes public to catch alleged predator. Skylar's mom sets the bait, but will it work? But while reporters and fans debated whether Veronica had lost her mind or found her strength, Kent was in his car, watching it all on his phone. Parked just 2 blocks from the studio, the shadows of early evening hiding his twisted grin. "Bold move, V," he muttered. But she had forgotten something. He knew her patterns. Her daughter's favorite hiding spots. The schools. The beaches. The house. He had been there before. She might have set the trap. But he wasn't afraid to walk right into it. After the attack at the beach house, Veronica knew she couldn't live afraid anymore. Skylar was only 8, but she had already been through more than most adults. "I'm done running," she told Detective Ramos, who was in charge of the case. "I've heard that before," Ramos said. "But this guy's smart. You want to draw him out? We'll need to make it look real. Skylar included." Veronica refused at first. "She's a child. She's also the only one he really watches," Ramos replied. "And we can keep her 100% safe. If you're in, we go all the way." They brought in child therapists, agents, even a security detail dressed as regular folks. Skylar was fitted with a wire so light she didn't even feel it. She was kept in a secure, camera-filled safe house. And Veronica? She went public with the plan of pretending they were vulnerable again. She hated every second. But she had no choice. Because this time, they were going to catch him. 2 days later, Veronica walked through a fake mall set they'd built to lure Kent. Skylar was inside the toy store, alone, talking to a woman dressed as a cashier, really an undercover agent. Cameras were everywhere. Veronica pretended to take a call and walk away. That's when he showed up. Kent. Dressed in a hoodie and sunglasses, acting casual. He walked into the toy store, looked around, and slowly approached Skylar. He reached for a stuffed bear on the shelf near her. "Do you like this one?" he asked with a smile. Skylar looked at him, her heart pounding. She remembered what her mom had said that morning. "All you have to do is talk. We'll do the rest." Skylar nodded and said, "It's cute. You want me to buy it for you?" That was it. That was the signal. Suddenly, boom. Officers stormed in from every direction. "Freeze! Hands up!" Kent dropped the bear and bolted, but he didn't get far. A tackle from behind slammed him into the tiled floor. Handcuffs snapped shut. Veronica ran to Skylar, scooping her up, holding her close. "You were so brave," she whispered. Skylar clung to her, shaking. Is he gone now? Veronica nodded. He's gone, baby. For good. Even though Kent was arrested, charged, and denied bail. Veronica's problems didn't just disappear. People questioned her judgment. Some asked, why didn't she notice sooner? Others blamed her for making the story so public. A few even accused her of exploiting her daughter. Sponsors pulled back from her fashion line. Talk shows demanded interviews. Even Skylar's school said it wasn't ready to have her back yet. Veronica stayed quiet. But her silence wasn't weakness. It was building strength. Because she had one goal now. Make the world a safer place, for girls like Skylar. A month later, Veronica launched the Skylar Project. A foundation aimed at teaching parents the signs of grooming and manipulation. Funding therapy for children who've experienced trauma. Creating safe spaces in schools with better adult vetting. Supporting single moms with emotional and legal tools. It went viral overnight. Donations flooded in. Celebrities joined in. Skylar became a quiet hero, her story sparking hope, change, and awareness. And Veronica? She found purpose again. But not everyone was clapping. One evening, as Veronica tucked Skylar into bed, she found an envelope slipped under their front door. No name. No return address. Just a typed letter. You think you've won. But your daughter's condition has nothing to do with Kent. There's something inside her. Something darker. Something you don't understand. You should ask your own mother what really happened before you were born. Veronica felt the room spin. This wasn't over. Someone else knew something. Something bigger. Something terrifying. The next morning, Veronica drove straight to the edge of town, to a quiet nursing home where her estranged mother lived. They hadn't spoken in years. Not since Veronica was 17 and ran away. But now, she needed answers. She walked into the old woman's room, heart pounding. Her mother turned slowly, her face tired but alert. You came back, she said softly. I need to know, Veronica said. Know what? About Skylar. About me. About before I was born. The woman's eyes filled with something between guilt and fear. And then she said something that changed everything. You weren't supposed to have a child. We tried to stop it. Veronica's mouth fell open. What do you mean, tried to stop it? Her mother reached for a drawer. Pulled out an old, cracked photo. In the photo? A baby girl. Wrapped in blankets. Eyes glowing, oddly bright. The same glow that sometimes shone in Skylar's eyes at night when the lights dimmed. What is this? Veronica asked, her voice shaking. Her mother looked her straight in the eyes. That is your sister. The one we lost. The one who came, too powerful. Veronica stared at the old photo. A baby girl wrapped in soft blankets. Peaceful, but not ordinary. There was something eerie in her eyes, something not human. They told me she died at birth, Veronica whispered. Her mother, now trembling, nodded slowly. That's what I told you. But it wasn't true. Then where is she? What happened to her? Her mother looked away, voice cracking. She didn't die. She was taken. Veronica blinked. Taken by who? The doctors. The facility. I didn't know what they were doing until it was too late. They said she was sick. But I saw her glow. I saw her eyes. They kept her for testing. I never saw her again. Veronica's skin went cold. And you thought Skylar might be like her? Her mother nodded. That's why I begged you not to have children. I thought maybe, just maybe, it skipped you. But now I see I was wrong. Veronica remembered. When she was pregnant with Skylar, the doctors couldn't explain some of the sonograms. Light flickers. Surges of energy. Heartbeats that skipped, then multiplied. They called it a glitch. But maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was the same thing that had lived in the sister she never met. Veronica whispered, "What is she?" Her mother looked at her with tears in her eyes. "Something the world hasn't named yet." High moment, testing the theory. Back home, Veronica sat with Skylar on the porch. She didn't want to scare her. She just wanted to understand. "Baby," she said softly, "do you ever feel different? Like something's inside you?" Skylar hesitated. Then slowly nodded. "When people get too close to you, especially men, do you feel like your body's trying to protect you?" Skylar nodded again. "Like it's warning me. Like my skin knows before I do." Veronica took her daughter's hands gently. "You're not broken. You're not weird. You're special. And we're going to figure this out together." Skylar smiled a little. Then said something strange. "I see lights when people lie." Veronica blinked. "What do you mean?" Skylar looked toward the neighbor's house. "That man who said he never saw a dog in our yard." His neck glowed orange. Veronica's heart skipped. "Do all lies glow?" Skylar shook her head. "Just the dangerous ones." Veronica felt chills down her spine. What else could her daughter do? The next day, Veronica received an anonymous email. No subject. No sender. Just a PDF. Subject, Project Lucent, Case 143B, Skylar. It had lab notes. Blood tests. Observations. Words like cellular hyperreactivity. Empathic biofield. Chromosomal mutation resembling earlier subject 12, Veronica's sister. Veronica's hands shook. Who had this? How did they get it? The final page had a list of names. Crossed out ones. But one stood out, Skylar Clark, potential weapon or asset. Veronica gasped. This wasn't just biology. Someone had been tracking her child. Since birth. Veronica brought the file straight to Detective Ramos. "I need to know who leaked this." Ramos stared at the report, his face darkening. "This is beyond my pay grade," he admitted. "But I know a guy in federal intel. If this is what I think it is." Skylar was part of something bigger. Maybe even before she was born. Veronica's mind was racing. What do they want from her? Control. Power. Maybe even fear. Veronica's jaw clenched. They won't touch her. "I believe you," Ramos said. "But you need to move. Now." He handed her a burner phone. "Use this. Get off the grid. I'll contact you when I know more." Veronica and Skylar packed in silence that night. They left everything behind, clothes, business, house. Veronica emailed her staff. Told them she was taking time to focus on family and healing. The world thought she was burned out. In reality, she was gearing up for war. Skylar didn't cry. She understood more than any child should. "Will we ever come back?" she asked softly. Veronica bent down and kissed her forehead. "Yes," she whispered. "But only when the world is safe for you." They drove for days. No phones. No cards. Just cash. They stayed in tiny motels. Ate diner food. Changed cars twice. Every time Skylar looked out the window, she asked, "Are they following us?" And every time, Veronica answered the same. "Not this time. Not ever again." They reached a quiet town in the mountains. New names. New home. But the same mission. Veronica opened her laptop. Set up a secure network. She had one goal now. Find out who started Project Lucent. And burn it to the ground. Late one night, Skylar was asleep. Veronica sat at the table, reading through more files Detective Ramos had just sent. Then, tap. 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 She looked up. A figure stood outside the window. Dressed in a gray hoodie. Not Kent. Not a stranger. But a woman. With glowing silver eyes. She mouthed something. "You're not the only one." And then disappeared into the trees. Veronica's heart thundered. Her daughter wasn't alone. But what else was out there? Please like, comment, share and subscribe.